special guest from Australia named Mr. Darcy Murphy. Hi, Mr. Murphy. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
Good also. So, Mr. Murphy, it is such an honor to have you here at SMA 2 Sumbawa Besar. And today we will have some interview with you and we will talk about Australia, about the schools, and also about Bahasa Indonesia because we know that you teach Bahasa Indonesia at Bremer College, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So before we start the interview, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Rizky Amalia and you can call me Amel, and my partner name is?
My name is Alvaris Ramadan and you can call me Alvar.
So Mr. Murphy, for the first question is, why are you interested in teaching Bahasa Indonesia?
Why am I interested? So, it's a very complex question, or there's two answers. There's a very simple answer and a very complex answer from me. I think the main reason why I teach Indonesian is because the simple reason is because when I was in school, my favorite teacher was my Indonesian teacher. So I wanted to be like them, really. And they had a really cool job, so I decided to become an Indonesian teacher as well. Partly because I like being a teacher and not working in an office. Being in an office is very boring. I don't know, in front of a screen all day, every day, I don't know if I could do that for the rest of my life. The other reason is one of the advantages of being an Indonesian teacher is that you can organize school trips to Indonesia. So I can get myself free trips to Indonesia.
So it is very fun.
Yes.
And for the second question is, so I just found out there's a gem in Australia called Vegemite. So I want to know how this is taste.
Oh, Vegemite. Okay. Well, lots of people in Australia have a love-hate relationship with Vegemite. Myself personally, I think it's disgusting. I can't eat it. Will be sick straight away. But people like my sister and other Australians, they eat it almost every morning for breakfast. Usually with bread with toast. So they'll use it as a spread on toast. The taste, very salty. It's very, very salty. And it's made from yeast and I don't know what else. It's mostly just like fermented yeast, which I don't even know what that is. Like it's gross.
So that's why most of the people don't really like it. I thought only the foreigners don't like Vegemite.
No, I mean, I don't know the percentages, but probably like half and half. Half like, half don't like, I'd say. But yeah, if you don't like it, you hate it. If you like it, you love it. So if the people that love it, they eat it every day. The people that don't like it, they never eat it ever. So it's, extreme.
Okay. So you don't really like a salty food?
I like salty food. I don't like Vegemite.
Alright. Next question. What is the difference between Australian student and Sumbawa so far?
So far, I
Yes.
think, I don't know if it's just me personally. I think the biggest difference between students here and students in Australia is how shy they are here. My students in Australia will just come up to me and just say the most random stuff all the time about like whatever, about like what games they're playing or about like, I don't know, about like gossip, like the gossip from their friendship group, and they'll tell me. Here, they don't tell me anything.
I mostly agree with that because it's kind of like our first time meeting a foreigner here.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you tell it to your normal teachers? Would you are you not as shy with your other teachers?
Shy
We're
sometimes.
shy.
Shy sometimes still.
Yes. We cannot talk anything to them because it's we respect them so much. So we feel like
Yeah, because mostly our culture here are respecting a teacher.
Yeah. Okay, so you won't tell your teachers all about the hot goss, the spill the tea.
No.
That's my favorite part of my job, when they spill the tea.
Oh.
Tell me all the cool stuff.
so you love the gossip.
Yeah, I love gossip. It's so fun. If it's gossip from the teachers or from the students, I like it all.
And for the fourth question is, during your trip in Sumbawa, do you have experienced a culture shock?
Culture shock. I don't think I've had any big moments of culture shock because I've already been to Indonesia a number of times. I think culture shock in Sumbawa I think how small it is. This is probably the smallest Indonesian city I've ever been to. But I mean, I've only been to very big cities. I've only been to Jakarta, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, Malang. So there's so many people. There's so many motorbikes everywhere. When I'm here, it's more peaceful. I like it here a little bit more. It's like a good mix between city life and village life. Like it's not too much like a city and not too much like a village. You can still find stuff, so it's not like a village, but it's more peaceful, so it's not as much like a city.
Alright. The next question is learning Indonesian mandatory for all students at grammar college?
So there's a lot of different pathways that students enter Braemar College. So our school is from year 5 to year 12. So it's a little bit of S there, a little bit of all of SMP, all of SMR. But some of the students join at different stages. So some students, we take about 90 students in year 5. So there's 3 classes year 5, 3 classes year 6. And then in year 7, we take 90 more students. So there's 90 students from year 6 that go to year 7. And 90 students which are new that enter the school as well. So there's 6 classes. 6 classes in year 7. In year 5 and 6, it's mandatory for all students to do Indonesian. So they do 1 semester of Indonesian class and then 1 semester of French class. In year 7, they have to pick. They either do Indonesian for the year or French for the year. So about half or a third of the students in year 7 do Indonesian, and then year 8 the same students do it again. But then in year 9 it becomes an elective, so mata pelajaran pilihan. So only a few students continue because there's a lot of choice in Australia. So the school system is different because here you guys are in IPA, IPS, yeah?
Yes.
How do you guys choose? How do you choose if you go IPA or IPS?
We've actually done a test before we got to choose our major, actually. So we have the test called APPS, which give us recommendations for what we could learn and what we might love to learn, actually. For me, I got chemistry, physics, and math, so I go to science.
You too.
And you?
Yes, same.
Same? So yeah, you're in science class as well?
Yes.
And so, I mean, it's very different in Australia because all of the students that do science do the same classes, yeah? Do you all take, all of you take chemistry, all of you take physics, all of you take... You don't get to choose, I want to take chemistry but not physics.
No.
No.
So in Australia, it's very different. From year 9, so akhir SMP, the end of SMP, sort of, but it's the start of SMR in Australia, year 9. You can sort of choose whatever subjects you want. So there's no streams, there's no science, there's no social sciences. You just pick whatever you like, really. The only thing that's compulsory is English. So you can study English, or you have to study English, and then you choose 5 other subjects. So, for example, one of my students does English, Indonesian, 2 different math classes, physics, and accounting. Another one does English, Indonesian, history, maths, physics, and politics. So you can use any combination. You don't need to pick all science or all social. You can pick whatever. So because of that, there's a lot of choice. I think there's about 50 subjects the students can choose from, maybe 40-ish. So because of that, my Indonesian class in year 9 is quite small. I think I have about 12 students. But then it always depends on the year. So this year I have 9 students in year 12, 12 students in year 9. But in year 10 I only have 3 students. So I have one class with only 3 students, which is quite awkward. But yeah, all of your classes are with the same students, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
It's 34, 35.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And if there's students in your class you don't like, you're with them the whole day, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole semester.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so it changes per semester or not?
no,
No.
we stay until we graduate.
So year 10, 11, 12, always the same class.
Oh,
That's 11 and
except
12.
we're actually in a different class in the 10th grade because we study all of the subject, but in the 11th grade we are kind of like composed into three different major.
Okay. 3 different majors.
Yes.
So what is it? IPA, IPS, and
Bahasa.
Bahasa. Okay. So your year 11 class is the same as your year 12 class.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Wow.
We
See-
cannot change.
In Australia, like the people that are in my Indonesian class, they're not all in the same English class, not in the same math class. So, it's not very often that you're in the same class with the same people. It's very, very rare. So yeah, it's very different from here. There's some positives and negatives to both systems, I think.
It's interesting to know. And for the next question is, many people say that Australia have a really unique and big animals. So I want to know that if there are really a big spider there.
Yes, there are lots of spiders, and there are big spiders. The big ones, though, they don't really live in my area. So usually the bigger spiders and the bigger snakes and all of the bigger animals live more to the north, because in the south it's too cold for them. So because of that, only the small ones live in Melbourne. You can find bigger ones. I think the biggest spider I've ever seen was like maybe like that big, like 6-7 centimeters diameter, which is scary. But I just step on it. So yeah, like I usually see. I just bought my own house in June, so I bought my own house and I live there by myself. Every day I find a spider, pretty much, almost every day. I like walk out into my kitchen or into my bedroom. I see on my bed, oh, there's a spider. So I just like I use the newspaper and just hit it. But yeah, a lot of the ones. The thing is with the Australian ones, though, the bigger they are, usually the less dangerous they are. The bigger they look big to look scary, so you don't annoy them. The smaller ones are the scary ones. One of the smallest spiders in Australia is the most poisonous one in the world, the redback spider. If you see a little spider with a little bit of red on the back of it, just run away, because if it bites you, you will die for sure, like 100%. So you have to be careful. So I'm more scared of the small things than the big things. I think the big things are easy to avoid. The small things are hard to avoid.
So you don't need to worry about the big one.
No. Usually they're more scared of you than you are of them. So if you just make a lot of noise, they'll run away. Yeah. So yeah, you just clap your hands and they'll probably run away. Like the chickens here.
Oh, this is actually just shocking news to me because I always thought that it was an edited picture.
Hmm?
This is actually a shocking news to me and new actually because I always thought that the big spider picture on the internet was an edited picture.
No, they're real. Yeah. Like you can also find, like sometimes you just find snakes in their house as well. Not usually, more rural. If you go like 2 or 3 hours from the city, there's a lot more spiders and snakes and stuff. In the city, not really. Like in the city, there's only like pigeons, like just a bunch of birds which crap on everything. So yeah, you have to be careful not to let the birds crap on you.
For the next question is like, you having fun here? Like, can you tell a story and everything you were having fun here?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I went to Pulau Moyo. I went to Moyo Island, which was really unique and really cool. I really enjoyed it. The waterfall was awesome. Just the general atmosphere was awesome. But one funny story, I don't know if I can tell this, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So I'm not sure what you guys call her, but Bu Ellie.
Oh yeah. But
Oh, wait.
We had to take the boat to get to Moyo Island. Yeah, every time the boat jumped a little bit, she was just screaming so much in my ear, so I had to move myself away from her. Otherwise, I would lose my hearing because there was a lot of screaming, which was I found it quite funny. It's a good story. But yeah, if you're going on a boat, don't sit next to Bu Ellie, Miss Ellie.
Alright.
And for the next question is, how do your school discipline their students? If are they using a physical punishment or just a timeout?
So physical punishment in Australia is illegal. So you're not allowed. I'm not allowed to touch a student. Like, like physically, I'm not supposed to like touch any student. Like even to hug or like, what's it called when we do like this in
Oh,
Indonesia?
sorry.
You can't do that in Australia. It's illegal. So like, especially for men, because of the perception that like the if there's any sort of abuse, like you'll directly be sent to jail almost certainly. So you're not allowed to have contact with students usually. To punish students, usually they get, for example, if they wear the wrong uniform, like if they wear their sport uniform on a day when they're supposed to wear their academic uniform, they will get a note sent to their parents or an email. If they get 3 emails sent home, they get a detention. So they have to stay at school after school on a Wednesday for an hour and clean up the school and help out with whatever. So they just have to like, I don't know, do the gardening and pick up rubbish and all that sort of stuff. So that's their punishment. If they do something more extreme, like if there's a case of bullying, for example, and it's proven, they could get a suspension. So they're told they're not allowed to come to school for a day or two, and their parents have to come to the school and meet with the principal or that's something like that. So, but that's usually not very common. I think last year at my school that only happened like 2 or 3 times in the whole year.
Have you ever experienced where you saw a student getting expelled?
Yes. So in my current school, in Australia, vaping is illegal, especially for kids. Anyone under the age of 18, it's illegal to vape anything. Anyone over the age of 18, you can only vape without tobacco. You can't vape with tobacco. So one time, I think at the start of 2022, so not last year, the year before, around January, February, one of the students, he was already quite naughty a few times, was selling vapes, so he got expelled. And at another school that I was at, so when I was still studying in university for my teaching degree, you have to go to a bunch of different schools. So you have to harus coba mengajar di beberapa sekolah jenis-jenis berbeda, sekolah negeri, sekolah swasta, sekolah Katolik, begitu. So you have to teach in all these different schools. One of the schools I was at, one of the state schools, sekolah negerinya, it was in a very Islamic area, yeah. So a lot of the immigrants that lived there were Islamic. So probably like 70 or 80% of the students at that school were Muslim. But most of them were either their parents just moved to Australia or they themselves had just moved to Australia maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Because of that, there was a lot of clash of cultures, like a clash between the two cultures sometimes. And because of that, there's a lot of fights. Like in my current school, there's not a lot of fights because it's further from the city. There's not many. It's quite sad. My school at the moment that I teach at isn't very diverse. It's actually the whitest school in the state. So sekolah yang paling putih di provinsi saya, karena daerahnya tidak ada. There's not many people from outside of the country in the area that I teach currently, but in that area there was. And because of that, one day there's a lot of fights. One day there was 3 students, the same name, Muhammad semuanya pada Muhammad. They were all named Muhammad, and they just beat up a kid until he had to go to the hospital because he was white.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, but that was a very rough school. Like that was like a sekolah, ada banyak geng di sekolah itu. Jadi ada juga di Australia, tapi jenisnya berbeda di antara Indonesia. Yeah, it's a bit different from Indonesia. So yeah, 3 students named Muhammad got expelled in the same day, which is like, I don't think that's ever happened before in history in Australia. It's very rare. But yeah, it was interesting. Have you had any students expelled from here?
Yeah.
Yes. But
How often do you think? How many last year?
not really often because I think last year we don't have a student that got expelled.
That's good.
But in my 10th grade, I think this one student, I, I think I got to know that this one student got expelled. I don't really know what's happened, but many people say that he got into the fight, I think.
Yeah.
You want to learn like this Symbonis?
Are you interested to learn a Sumbawa, this word?
I am, because the only word I know at the moment, or I know a few words, but they're all very specific, yeah? Because when Mr. Wayu and Miss Pabrina came to my school, they were teaching my year 12s about upacara pernikahan, wedding ceremonies in Sumbawa. Because for the final exam for my year 12s, they have to speak about a ceremony in Indonesia for 15 minutes with an examiner in Indonesian. So 7 minutes general conversation, 8 minutes about a ceremony. So the only words I remember, I don't even remember all of them. I remember like bajajak, basa putis, nyorong, barodak, itu saja. Dan silamo, I know silamo. Yeah, that's all I know, but I would like to know some more.
So we would like to teach you about how to actually say nama saya and saya suka Sumbawa in Sumbawanese.
Okay.
Are you interested?
I am very interested.
Okay, so I would let my partner do the work.
So you can repeat after me.
Okay.
Singin kaji, singin kaji,
Kaji, ejannya singin.
SINGEN.
Singin.
Yeah.
Singin kaji.
Kaji.
Singin
Darcy
kaji.
Mervi.
Singin kaji Darcy Murphy.
Yeah, that's like my name is. Kaji is I think it's a formal. When you talk with the person you respect, you use kaji.
For my, or name? Kaji?
Kaji it's
Kaji.
my.
Okay.
Singin itu name.
Singin kaji Darcy Murphy.
Kaji. Kaji beri Sumbawa.
Kaji
Beri Sumbawa. It's like I love Sumbawa.
Kaji beri Sumbawa.
Yes.
Sumbawa atau Semawa?
Sumbawa. You know more than me.
So could you repeat the whole thing one more time?
Okay. Singin kaji Darcy Murphy, kaji beri Sumbawa.
Singin kaji Darcy Murphy, kaji beri Semawa.
Yes, that's good.
So let's say the word in the camera.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3.
Singin kaji Darcy Murphy,
Kaji.
kaji beri Semawa.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Murphy, this is the last sessions of the interview. It is so fun and it is such an honor for us to have you here. And thank you so much for the time. I wish we can meet in Australia in the future.
Yes. You have to. Come to Melbourne. Only Melbourne. Don't get to other cities.
Okay.
Yes.
So friends, we are reaching the end of the interview. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Bye-bye.